tonight. This gentleman who I am presenting this award to is one of my best friends. I found out about him the first time when I used to listen repeatedly to my favorite singer in my car with her CDs, Nancy Lamott. And I didn't know much about her. I just know that I knew I loved everything she sang. And there were a couple of songs that were my favorites, and then I started investigating where they came from. And they came from a man named David Friedman. The style of her songs, the sound that she had, the presentation of the songs. He was the composer of many of them. He produced her CDs. He was her mentor along the way. And what I loved most about David's songs were that they were smart, they were meaningful, they were moving, they had humor and spirituality. This man could write everything. I met him for the first time, I think, at an ASCAP event at 92nd Street Y. Michael Kirker introduced us. We were both performing that night, and I got a chance to finally meet Nancy Lamott. I was so excited to meet Nancy that I don't think I looked at David twice. Then, I was invited by my musical director of 20 years, Mr. Ron Abel, sitting right over there, to perform. Yay, Ron Abel. This will be your award next year, Ron, I promise. I was invited to sing at an AIDS benefit in San Francisco, named after one of David's most powerful songs, Help Is On the Way. And that night, hold your applause, it gets better. That night, after the show, David performed at the finale. He's not always performing on that show. They just name it after him, and they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for AIDS causes. But he performed the finale that night, and afterwards we finished signing all the CDs and things we do, and everybody, of course, runs to Martini's for martinis after the show until 2 o'clock in the morning. And I hadn't eaten all day, and my friend Keith and I were standing there, and there were about 5 people left in the reception, and we looked around, and Keith and I said, "Do you want to go eat?" And I said, "Yeah, who will we go with?" And he went, "What about them?" And he pointed over there to David Friedman, and his partner, who I found out was named Sean. And we ended up at one of the Laurie's diners until about 3:30 in the morning. And we talked about life and music and love and sex and show business and God and every other subject you can imagine. And by the end of the night, I felt that I had met 2 of my best friends. This man is such a prolific, contemporary wonder boy. He was, of course, many of you know, conductor for a lot of the Disney hits, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Right now, he has like 9 musicals in the hopper ready to bring to Broadway. He's a math whiz with a photographic memory for numbers. He types like a demon. But everybody knows some David Friedman song. And singers like Nancy Lamott and Barry Manilow and Diana Ross and the great Lucy Arnaz all recognize the value of his materials. Songs, of course. If I say you've got to know at least one of these, then I'm saying, Listen to My Heart, Living on Borrowed Time, Help Is on the Way, Rich, Famous, and Powerful, I'll Be Here With You, Just in Time for Christmas, I'm Not My Mother, You're Already There. Everyone Has a Story, which he started writing once a month for the Today Show with Kathy Lee Gifford. And one of the most devastating lyrics I've ever heard, Catch Me. And a song that I think should probably be our national anthem, and certainly should be David's theme song, We Can Be Kind. I think that David Friedman writes songs, for the most part, that really need to be written. Then, if you include his divinely inspired thought exchange concept and classes and seminars all over the country, this man has so much talent for one person. And I went from dreaming of actually meeting him one day to sharing vacations and recipes and diets and heartaches and homes with him and his partner, Sean Moniger. I have such respect and admiration for this man. I think he should get a Lifetime Achievement Award, even if MAC stood for Multi-Talented Artistic Creators. Even if MAC stood for Most Awakened Composer. or musicians and comedians, or much advanced consciousness, or maybe even Moninger's adorable champion. What an honor for me to present this year's Manhattan Association of Cabaret Lifetime Achievement Award to my friend, David Friedman.
Thank you. I'm telling you, if you told me when I was sitting at home as a teenager watching Here's Lucy, that Lucy Arnaz would be giving me a Lifetime Achievement Award, and even more so that Lucy Arnaz would be our neighbor and our best friend and our pal, I would have told you were nuts. This is very surprising to me. And there have been many things in my life that have been great, wonderful surprises to me, not the least of which this honor that Mac has chosen to give me tonight. I was sitting at home in my studio and looking at the wall, and there's a plaque on the wall that is the 1994 Johnny Mercer Award for Emerging Songwriter. So I was emerging in 1994, and I'm Lifetime Achievement now. I actually really experience myself much more as emerging now than Lifetime. But so I will take this award as a piece of recognition for me to realize and remember that I've had the privilege of doing a lot of wonderful things in the world of music and show business, some of them which might be considered big things, but that all of these things, my ability to do them rests firmly on the ground that I started in cabaret. Of all the art forms I participated in, cabaret is, without a doubt, the purest. We are not doing it because some executive is telling us to do it. We're not doing it because of market research or to please a certain demographic of people. We're certainly not doing it for the money. We were just telling my favorite joke, how do you become a millionaire in cabaret? Start with $2 million. This room, more than any group, knows this. Yes. So, the thing about cabaret is that when you write cabaret songs, you go inside yourself to find out what's in there. What you know is in there, but even much more importantly, what you don't know is in there. What things come to you through inspiration, through listening, through sitting still and waiting for that to come. And so I feel like I found out who I was and what I had to say in cabaret. And so when I got into situations professionally where there was much more pressure, where there was much more finance at stake, where there were 20 executives telling you what to do and everybody changing everything, that I, because of my experience in cabaret, knew who I was and knew how to hold on to what I needed to say. And sometimes in the Disney stuff, you really gotta sneak it in there. So, but I was able to do that, and I was able to navigate all of that because of my cabaret background. And so I would have to say that I've come to understand that my songs may be hits, they may not be hits, but what's important to me is you always know a David Friedman song when you hear one, just as you know a John Bacchino song when you hear one, just as you know a Francesca Blumenthal song when you hear one, just as you know an Irvin Drake song when you hear one, just as you know a song by any writer who really has started in cabaret, an Alan Menken song you know when you hear one. And so I am grateful that I have, to use John Bacchino's word, that I have had the chance to start out in cabaret and really feel that the most important thing to me in all the things I've done is my songs, and that I still feel after all these years that I do my best writing in cabaret. So now when I found out that the other honoree of this award is Irvin Drake, who you'll see in a minute, I remembered another time when I had a shared moment of glory with someone else. Now, of course, Irvin Drake is an icon. I'm just me. I was sitting in the Russian tea room waiting to hear Julie Halson, the fantastic Julie Halson, and Faith Stewart Gordon, who owned the Russian tea room, got up to introduce Julie. And she said, before I introduce Julie Halson, we have two celebrities in the audience. Songwriter David Friedman and Gina Lollobrigida. So, tonight my moment is a little longer because before Gina Irvin Drake, I always get the two of you confused, comes out, I've been asked to sing a couple of my songs for you, so I'm going to do that. Thank you. First song is probably my best-known song, definitely my best-known song in the cabaret community. And I wrote it originally for Laurie Beachman, and I wrote it about a circumstance in her life. What I did was I put myself in how I might feel in this particular circumstance and wrote the song. And she sang it beautifully. And in 1991, I was giving a concert, a very big concert at Cathedral St. John the Divine, which was sort of my coming out as a writer, because I was always very scared to show my work to people because it's so personal, it's so about me, and it took me a long time to allow myself to do that. And Laurie was scheduled to sing this song, and on 24 hours notice she had to cancel. And so I was rather bereft, and I received a phone call from Nancy LaMotta, and she said, "Are you excited about tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, excited is one of the things I'm feeling, mortified is another." And so I told her that I had no one to sing Listen to My Heart. And she said, "Well, I've always loved that song. I've never sung it before, but I'll have it for you tomorrow night." And when Nancy got up and sang it, she sang it on my behalf. It was really about how, here's the audience, here am I, and you're here listening to me. And at that moment, I understood that although I think I write songs about other people, I actually always write them about myself. They're always about what I'm thinking and feeling and what I'm going through. And that's the moment I realized why I write and that I have to write. So here's Listen to My Heart. You're right here, and you're all mine. I can't believe the years of holding back are through, and I can finally share what's in my heart with you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart. Listen to it sing, listen to my voice. It wants to tell you everything. There's so much to say, I don't know where to start. But if you want to know the love I'm feeling, listen to my heart. All my life I've been on a road, going one way toward one dream. The road would wind, and down it I would go, always searching, never finding. But even in my darkest hour, I always knew that someday, somehow, the road would lead can't express how my heart's filled with happiness. Listen to it, listen to my heart, listen to it sing, listen to my voice. It wants to tell you everything. Listen to my song, listen to it soar. I've waited all my life for this one moment. I'm not waiting anymore. Listen to my heart as it cries for all the years that it was lonely. Listen to my heart as it smiles to know that now after so long I can finally sing my song. And you're here and you're listening, you're listening. Listen to my voice, it will tell you everything, all about the life that's just about to start. For if you want to know how much I love you, listen to my heart. Listen to my heart. Listen to my heart. Thank you. Now, if that is the song that is the closest to my heart, I'm sorry to say that this song is the truest song I've ever written. Ever since I was a baby, I have had one dream in mind, and I hope and pray that maybe it will finally come true. It's a simple wish that everyone has had from time to time, so I know you'll understand me when I share my dream with you. I want to be rich, famous, and powerful. Step on all my enemies and never do a thing. I want to be rich, famous, and powerful. So all I have to do in life is sit around and sing. I don't want to work, struggle, or compromise. When I set a goal, I want to reach it right away. Because paying your dues, that's just for other guys. As for me, I want what I want, and I want it all today. I don't want to audition. I don't want to take class. I want to be discovered while I'm sitting on my ass. I should not have to suffer. I should not have to sweat. I tried it for 10 minutes once, and look, what did I get? I'm still not rich, famous, and powerful. Barbara Streisand has it all, and I can do what she can do, so why is she rich, famous, and powerful? While I'm still stuck here schlepping through my life like all of you. What does it take to be famous and powerful? God, if you are listening, please tell me what to do. What do I have to fake to be famous and powerful? I've done everything I can, and now the rest is up to you. I tried being good, I tried being nice, I even tried pretending I was listening once or twice. The really big stars have made it without it. Was Betty Davis pleasant? Well, I seriously doubt it. Still, she was rich! Everyone adored her and the world was at her feet, and she was a bitch! It's obvious that I have gotten nowhere being sweet. Now I know I should be thankful for the blessings that I've got. There are those who truly worship me, and starving I am not. And I suppose good friends and family and health count for a lot. But I have to admit, all this doesn't mean shit if I'm not rich! Famous and powerful. Oh, come on, don't be so shocked. You know you feel the same as I. If we were rich, famous, and powerful, we could take all those agents and casting directors, tiny apartments and back tax collectors, and casting calls, chilly rehearsal halls, people who bore us, and jobs in the chorus, and kiss them all goodbye. Is that too much to ask? Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so pleased to get this, and I have to say, in my, gosh, I hope I get everything in. The biggest blessing that I have gotten from cabaret is that if I hadn't been in cabaret, I would not have met my wonderful partner, Sean Moninger. We actually met at Nancy Lamont's memorial. Talk about one door closing and another door opening. What is that expression? When a door closes, another one opens, but it's hell in the hall. And I just have to say that my life of songwriting and the spirit and the understanding that I got out of that life has been so enhanced by our being able to have a life that's filled with spirit and filled with love and allows me to express myself in so many ways. So I am just overjoyed at this honor. I'm overjoyed at my life, and thank you all so much.
He is the new managing